Welcome to the Cocktail Club podcast by Cocktail Kompany. I really can't tell you how excited I am, especially for this episode, to have one and only Prince of India, Arijit Bose, to have conversations about the beverage landscape in the country, anything to do with bartending and cocktails, and of course, hats.
Hats,
Yeah. I don't think I need to introduce him to
caps,
our
cigars, and
viewers.
cocktails.
Yeah, cigars, caps, and cocktails. So, what do we begin with? Should we begin with cocktails or should we begin with cigars? No, I'll tell you what. Let's begin with your love for Bangalore. Why do you love Bangalore?
For
I read that you
yeah,
have a fascination for what Bangalore is.
I think in recent times a lot of it started because of Ginsling, which you were instrumental in kind of helping us organize and run it, and kind of discovered that though Bangalore liked a lot of beer, there was a huge spirit drinking population and there are a lot of fun. It's not something I discovered for a long time, and since then there was discovered Suleimani Kida. There was something in the back of my head that it'll be amazing to do a bar in Bangalore, and there are not a lot of cocktail places that you can go to. There are beer places with cocktail bars. But for some reason there are no cocktail bars, right? So it was always there, and then you get into the nitty-gritty of it, what licensing is, what excise is. However, the world conspired. A lot of things happened between that love for Bangalore, and by the time the bar got realized, and you would know this, whenever you open a bar, it's always a lot of worry.
Right.
Will it work? Will it not work? Am I overestimating myself and the team? But somehow all of that worked, and what we realized in Bangalore is how the landscape is built. People like drinking here,
Right.
and they don't mind paying the right amount of money for it. Right? There's not a lot of complaint. Uh, Doing that after Goa, where people have always expected cheaper drinks, and
Right.
no matter how cheap you make it, you can't beat 150 rupee beer.
Correct.
Right? So you always keep on fighting that battle. Bangalore, on the other hand, I think the crowd's been amazing. They appreciate good drinks. And the city is super metropolitan, right? So they treat you as one of your own.
Right.
You don't feel like an outsider, and not just me, because with the team and working, but every member of the team, whether it's Errol, whether it's Pritesh, they have their own friendships, and the person might be very important, but they make them feel like one of their own, which is a great feeling. So you enjoy doing food and beverage here.
Correct.
Right? It's a key part. The reason we are in it is because of that interaction. Bangalore's amazing at it. It knows its music. People know their food. Somebody might be having caviar and champagne, but they will tell you the best dosa to go for. Right?
Yeah.
So that balance is incredible, and I don't think you find it in a lot of the other. There are different groups, right? Who go to a nice place will only tell you nice places.
I'm also glad that people are now moving away from Nagarjuna to host places. Otherwise, anyone who comes,
Yeah, dude.
bartenders, anyone from another city, you first
Nagarjuna and the Guntur chili chicken.
Guntur chili chicken.
Yeah, man.
Andhra chili chicken.
Andhra chili chicken.
But Spirit Forward has been how many months now?
4 months.
4
We opened on September 15th.
Okay.
After our trial period and all. So
Right.
September 15th, 16th is when it opened up. We actually ended up doing a guest shift before the bar opened.
Yes,
Because of our delays, but yeah, it was interesting. So 4 months.
4 months. So 4 months, and how did you go about building the cocktail menu? Right, I'm sure when we do menus for bars, you always go through that anxiety that will consumers accept it. Like Bangalore has got a lot of bars. It's a beer drinking place. Everyone knows that you get great beers in microbreweries. You go to a bar, a bartender is going to make great cocktails.
Yeah.
You have an assumption, but just sticking to cocktails and saying no, I will do these drinks, put a 15 drink menu and say, guys, you should try it.
Yeah.
What was the thought process behind it?
I think one thing is our business is very different.
Right.
What we run, and you would know this running a smaller bar, is when you're catering to a smaller population, they are more keen to try what you offer them. Right? That's why you're not. The moment you increase, you go from 100 people to 200, then you have to start catering a little bit more, and suddenly you have a 36 cocktail menu.
Correct.
Right? And then there's a lot of external pressure.
So Spirit Forward has been 4 months into the opening. As bartenders, when we create menus for cocktail bars or any other bar, we always anticipate that guest would probably like something or not like something, and you have opened a bar which just does cocktails, right?
Yeah.
So what is the thought process behind it? Say, for someone who also has done bars in Goa, right? In Goa, it's touristy crowd.
Yeah.
They come there. They're okay to experiment and discover. But in Bangalore, it's a lot different. So how did you go about doing a cocktail menu?
I think it's very interesting, right? But also to take everything I say with a pinch of salt because of the amount of experience I have, and I just simply feel I don't need to prove myself anymore.
Correct.
When you're doing menus or when you're opening a bar, one of the first things to assess is what do you enjoy doing, right? So I try to make drinks which I like drinking,
Correct.
right? So when you do that, you know, okay, you already get the direction, right? When I go to all these bars, what is it that I liked about the experience? What was the glassware? What was that drink? It's not necessary to impress people,
Right.
right? The second thing that you always figure out is, okay, if you're ever doing drinks, people should be able to have two of those drinks. Concepts are great, but if they are so difficult to put forward that it utilizes a lot of your guys' time and the flavor is so funky that you'll only have one drink, then there's no point.
Right.
In a bar environment, it's not like a chef-driven kitchen. You want guys to have the same drinks over and over again, right? That's what makes sense for your prep, so on and so forth. Plus, there are a lot of external forces, right? You're trying to impress people, you want to use new ingredients, a lot of things you see on Instagram. So if we try to do everything, it is a recipe for failure. So you need to commit to what your plan is and what you want to do. If you have 10 ideas, start working with 3 or 4, right? And then surround it with easier things to do so that bartenders can make it fast.
Correct.
There's not a lot of prep required. There are drinks that should take 15 seconds and there are drinks that should take 2 minutes, right? That's why a daiquiri and a martini will always have position on the menu for me. They're super fast,
Yes.
right? So they average everything out. And you have to know that whenever you're making menu, not everyone is going to like everything. It is very, very key to understand that, right? You will have people who say, okay, I don't like this drink.
Correct.
But you open them up to a choice, right? Try it, you don't like it, I'll take it back. At least he tried something new, and next time that person comes in, he's going to tell his friend that, you know, they gave me that drink last time.
Right.
It was not my style, but you might like it, right? So I think all kinds of cocktails have place on the menu, but you need to know, whenever you're making a menu, you need to rest your ego, figure out who your clientele is, who your consumer is, and know that everyone is not going to like everything.
Right.
So that takes pressure off. Second thing is you have to figure out is the bar is about the consumer. It's not for us to impress people, right? Trade, of course, likes different things, but at the end of the day, we have new consumers coming in. So things which are old school for you are new for them. And there is no reason you should not use it, right? If a simple thing or a simple trick or even the flaming of the Cosmopolitan, it's completely died out.
Yes.
You do it now at a bar counter, people will love it. And why not use it, right? Don't be so worried that it's a cliche, but do it properly. Make sure the vodka or the gin is right. Whatever juice you're using is fresh, balance is good, and then you do those cliche things also. If people like it, why not sell it? So reduce pressure on yourself. Then figure out ingredient. One of the things when we were doing Tejoro and my earlier partners, like Pankaj's thought process, okay, let's list down a number of ingredients which are difficult to use. And how do we adapt it, right? And even if you go to Countertop now, they did a menu with ingredients which don't match.
Correct.
So you do those, but your whole menu can't be that. So every complicated drink needs to be balanced with a very simple cocktail, which you have to realize besides you have got 15 other people who work for you. It has to be easy for them to sell. Somebody who's never had really drinks has probably only passed 10th or 11th, has worked at a beer place, but he's working on your floor. He does not understand clarification or the use of fat wash and how do you explain that flavor.
Correct.
He does not understand the joy of truffle as a funky drink. So you have to keep those, but keep some things that he takes less than 30 seconds, like an elevator pitch. He's like, it's a beautiful rum mixed with lime and sugar. It's ready. It's a sweet sour style that you like. So not only do you impress people there or make drinks for there, but the floor is selling 70%.
Yes.
So you think about all of this stuff and then you put the menu. My recent peeve when you're asking me about Spirit Forward was I wanted the whole menu to be a single page. Because by the time you've made a choice about one drink, you already know what your next drink is going to be.
Right, because it's all on the single page.
Yeah. So they are already thinking, right? So you've created a want.
Yes.
So And I think I've seen enough books. It's good. I don't go to a bar to read a book,
Right.
though that has its place. I want people to make decisions quick. Quicker decision means faster drinks, more lively. So that's why the menu is engineered in that way, and it needs to be simple,
Right.
right? So you have to step out of your own skin and think from a consumer's point of view, and I think that will always work.
Okay, so uh, let's talk about guest shifts, right? Before Spirit Forward opened, you did a guest shift at Singapore. Recently, you were at Stay Gold Flamingo, and Stay Gold
Yeah.
Flamingo was here in Spirit Forward. Now, I have three questions on this, right?
Okay.
One is, what does guest shift mean to you? Second is, what does guest shift means to bartenders who are outside of our country? And the third question is, as a bartender working behind the bar, if there's a guest shift happening in the city or at my own bar, what is it that I should be doing or learning, or how should I look at it?
Gotcha. Okay,
Sorry,
so
I put three questions in one.
there are roughly about 30 questions wrapped into those three. uh, so I think guest shifts was something that started off as a nice pastime or
Okay.
like a nice little side gig to becoming a main key part of our industry now, right?
Right.
So any bar that wants to get its name out, any bartender who wants to get its name out, they do not need to depend on big brands, right? So now bars are tying up within themselves based on friendships, styles that you like, mixing it up and doing guest shifts, right? And that the bar team in that country is figuring out how to make it happen, right? You are going to be doing one with the Cap Genius, right? It came off a conversation. You don't need a cocktail competition to make those crossovers happen.
Correct.
Right? So I think guest shifts are a key important part. It's a tool. You should utilize it, but also don't get too lost in guest shifts, right? Because a lot of the bars are coming to your place to experience you. So if you have constantly guest shifts happening, they don't end up experiencing you. They're experiencing
Guest shift.
other places. So know that balance, I think, which makes it good. For me, guest shifts have been very good. Like I have a special appreciation for it because when I got into the industry or when I was a brand ambassador to start off, that culture had not come in. So I was not traveling a lot for guest shifts.
Right.
Right. But I like traveling, and when you're in India, it's very difficult to go out because the conversion rate is shit.
Yes.
It ends up becoming very expensive, and when you're in the industry, you're also earning less. So guest shifts was a great way for me to travel around the world, meet a lot of people. There was not a lot of it.
Yes.
So when I did my first one as part of Bacardi and I was running a competition, went to Puerto Rico, ran the Legacy, then the Lithuanian team there was like, listen, you should come to Lithuania. I had not heard of that place.
Oh wow.
So I said, listen, I will go.
Yeah.
Ended up in Lithuania, did a training and did a guest shift, and I really enjoyed it, right? And that opened the rest of the world for me.
Correct.
Right, then I ended up in Belgium, I did Tomorrowland, not a lot of cocktail bars were there, but for me, guest shift is one of the things that I like about my industry is the travel.
Yes.
It is guest shifts that opened it up for me, right? Getting that ability and opportunity. Then a key moment also for me was when Jigger and Pony called me for the 2-year anniversary. It was brilliant, right? That's how I met. I had met Aki. I had opened PCO by then with the team. Aki had come down and then he was, listen, you should come to Jigger and Pony. It was 4 of us doing the 2-year anniversary. A lot of stuff happened, including I get blamed for it. But one of the guys ordered dry ice. What he meant was like solid Hoshizaki ice.
Oh.
But they got actual dry ice. And I was like, shit, I will use it. And I smoked the whole bar up. One guy burnt his finger. The drip tray drainage got full up. But at Jigger and Pony, the old Jigger and Pony, it was a lot of fun. I had a great time, and I think that opened the doors for me to get back to Singapore, and that's how 28 happened. I did a guest shift at 28, and during the 2014-2015 era, this thing picked up. Anyone traveling from Singapore was coming for guest shifts.
Right.
So I was meeting old friends like Alex Kratina and stuff who had met, these new guys coming in from Australia, Japan, the bar trench guys, and then you suddenly get to hear about all of, I mean, the stars are very cool, but then you hear about their bar and how they're doing things different. Then there was whole thing about, we went for a guest shift in France where we took the mac and cheese balls with us, which was really famous at 28.
Okay.
And our chef cooked it for like 200 people.
Nice.
Right? So then food also went in. So to me, that whole bar food idea got really interesting. So that opened up our industry in a big way, right? That's how marketing came in a lot more.
Yes.
Now you needed menu designs and communication and videos, all of that stuff came in. So I think guest ships have enriched our industry.
Correct.
And now what's happening is people are using guest ships as a legitimate tool.
Okay.
I don't like all of it, but I appreciate it. I understand what's happening. One key thing to remember when you're doing guest shifts, and if anything, I would leave you with this on the podcast, is choose the right bar for the right venue. Right?
Okay.
You're always representing. Don't get a 5-star hotel to come and do a ghetto bar, or don't send a ghetto bar to represent at a 5-star. You need to
Okay.
pick up energies and rooms based on where those guys.
Some similarities with
100%.
Right.
Yeah. So then they will be able to exude it,
Correct.
right? So for me, a artisan comes to ZLB is a fit,
Yes.
right? But a cat bite club where they are crazy and going mental, or a 28 club, 28 Hong Kong Street does not meet a 5-star hotel environment, right?
Yeah.
So you choose things accordingly. A Donovan bar from London, a Terran Elementary would be great at high-end places. So choose places where energies kind of coincide, or choose personalities that way.
All right.
So guest ships will always go well. Sorry I rabbled on, but it's a complicated question.
No, we're talking about Singapore a lot. You have spent a lot of time in Singapore. One of the things probably as bartenders maybe we look up to is examples of Peter Chua opening his own, now Jesse J with that Cat Bite Club, 28 Hong Kong. So many examples. Now the recent one is Loth, I think, by
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but now you see that trend probably in India right now. Bartenders are willing to open their own bars.
Yeah.
They want to collaborate with other bartenders and things. You have opened multiple bars, Delhi, Goa,
Yeah.
now Bangalore. What do you think are the notes a bartender should keep in mind if he is thinking of venturing out, opening a bar? I know it is difficult.
Yeah.
Everyone feels that it is not their cup of tea, or they really are mentally made up their mind that I want to go do it, but I don't know how to do it. Or
Yeah.
what should I be thinking? What do you think? Maybe a few pointers.
It's
if you
a
could give.
F&B is a risky business, right?
Yes.
You will learn more when you talk to investors and people. It's the business is not like buying property or putting money in IT, and
Yeah.
F&B will always be risky at an investor level. Who can eat up the risks? Bartenders cannot eat up risks. We don't. Most of us are people who have not come from money.
Correct.
Right? But whether you're an ambassador, whether you're F&B, whether you're working in a bar or a restaurant, your dream always is going to be, मैं अपना दुकान खोलूंगा, right? You want that used to be our ultimate pinnacle, right? Especially when I got into the industry, I did not even know brand ambassador was a thing.
Yes.
So I always knew that someday I will go to Goa and open a shack, and that's the life I want. Now I've realized that is the worst idea, right? That thing will leave you more barren than the deserts in Rajasthan. Like, don't open a shack in Goa. That business is difficult. We know enough friends between us. That's happened, right? When the sand gets into the fridge,
Yeah.
right, or your juice ferments right in front of the guest, it's a difficult gambit, or some guy will come in and steal your booze and go.
Yeah.
So they're all nice pipe dreams, but the risk is always there. Singapore is very interesting. I learned a lot of things in Singapore because I was part of the culture and I was there. So you were constantly talking to the locals who have a very different mindset. All the guys who are traveling in from US, Australia have a very different mindset. So what you realize is Singapore has made business very easy. Whether you look at taxes, I'll give you an anecdote. In the 80s, 90s, when they were building the city, their governing factor was from the airport to your office should be sub 1 hour, and figure that out. So over 20, 30 years, they have figured that out, right? So from the time that you land, you are in your office within an hour 15 with your luggage, and it's the most comfortable thing. Then you look at taxes, then you look at how the office structure is built. Everything is conducive to running business. If you run a bar there, things are expensive, but you are super protected. In fact, if there's a problem, the cops support the venue first and tourists and guests later. So, yes, it has its own problem. You don't have a lot of staff, but doing business there is easy. So, I've seen a lot of people open their bars and really go at it, and a lot of successful businesses. One of the ones that I cite is, you will not know him, but Christian Hartman. Used to work at Cuffling Club back in the day, which shut down, and the owners also kind of shifted. He now owns Skinnies. In the middle, he had opened a place called Vasco's. And after that, he opened Skinnies, which is very famous dive bar. All of us have gone there.
Okay.
But while he does that and he meets day-to-day complications of running that, he also works as an employee at Tanjong Beach Club. Right? So he's running two places. So people are hustling all the time to be on top, and you will not have staff. Staff only works for 40 hours. So Singapore has a lot of complications of its own, but you can do a lot of cool things. You'll get the right ice, all ingredients are available, booze like never before. Now brings us back to India. India business is always going to be difficult, right? We can crib and cry, but running a bar is like crack cocaine. Once you get used to it, there is no other job you will like, right? And you have done it. You've gone from bars to sitting in an office. You made a lot of money, and then we start drinking our rum and cokes, and we start bulking up. But that whole joy of talking to consumers and handling that stuff and being under pressure and making like 100 drinks and messing up and handling your team is just, it's a joyful business. I really, really like it. But we have to deal with a lot of things. Excise, then there are cops. Cops are not our friends. Right? Though they are there for our safety, something happens, it's our fault. Right? Then if you look at a place like Goa, drink driving is a big thing. So we have a lot of these little things which make our lives difficult, but we still figure out. There are enough entrepreneurs who are figuring out how to do it. For bartenders, it's difficult because we don't have money. And the other thing is, if it's not your money, it's not your bar. I have learned it the hard way. I have been told that this is your bar and all, but it's not. It is your bar when you have put your money into it. Even at a sweat equity level, if somebody is telling you, it's not your bar, right? You put your money in or put something aside, then it becomes. So people do want that. I figured out a long time back that first I'm Bengali, so I don't have the acumen for money. I don't mean this as a disrespect. I'm just saying I don't have the acumen for making money. I understand that, but I like this business. I also figured I'll never have money to open my own bar, right? It's a difficult, and I've tried a lot and I have founded a lot of things, but things don't work out, right? For me, it's a learning experience. There's a lot of water on the bridge. So when you go through that whole trial, what I have discovered is it is not a bar that I want to own. That's my driving force. Right? I just want to open and run bars while I like going and drinking. So to do that, I have to be highly involved. So then for that to happen, I need to have decision making powers. So now I've figured out alternate systems where it's the bar in totality is not mine. It is somebody else's money is put in. I put in my thought process, and as long as for a specific amount of time they run it according to me, that's my joy. So then the bar is set, and then you can keep going back. So that's how I'm opening bars. If you are a bartender in India and you want to do this, find out how you want to open the bar. So if it's your bar, it is your risk. Do you have that ability? Opening a bar now costs anywhere between 80 lakhs to 2 crores. Right? If you have that money, I don't know why you're bartending. Right? Simply, right? So then you have to talk to investors. And if you talk to investors, then there's audits and reports. So a lot of things that come into play, right? You have to think about all of that jazz. But at the end of the day, you do want to tell people that is my bar. Right? So you have to choose whether you are that guy. I am on the side of, I like building bars. Right? It does not need to be mine. But that is a bar that I founded and I was part of. And I am happy with that. Consultation and guest shifts and trainings make me a lot more money, right? It's just easier from there. But everyone in an industry, you should, if the peak of our industry is to get a bar or to own your brand, you should do it at least once. Go for it. You'll learn so much. But don't do it at the age of 23, 24. Spend some time in the industry, learn from other people's failures, talk to successful people, but also talk to people who have failed. So they will give you their perspective.
A lot about the business aspects of business, your taxation and other things, and just drinks. And I know my costing, but no, there's a lot which goes behind it.
Absolutely. So there's a guy called Julian Nicolai who was my boss at Monkey 47. So he used to tell me that, boss, you have to do the dance. Right? You can't just walk in and say, I want a 700 liter barrel because I want to age a Monkey 47 cocktail in it. You have to tell me how many glasses will you make? How is ROI going to happen? Where are you going to store it? But if we do use it, can we use it at a bar? So there's a lot of things that go into it. Once you have said that, then you have to talk to higher ups and convince them, okay, this money is worth spending. All of us wanted rotovaps, right? I can see 3 faces in this room that are smiling on that word, right? I would have loved a rotovap, right? I want to, not for anything, I want to learn it so that if I ever go out, I don't want to go out as cheap labor.
Yeah.
Somebody tells me that use a roto app, I should know how to access it if I have that. So that's why I like, but it's 6 lakh rupees in India. If I had 6 lakh rupees, I would get 2 more employees for the whole year.
Correct.
Right? Which means my service is much better and I figure out an alternate way to provide that flavor.
Yes.
So I want a young bartender to tell me that. Right? When you're talking to me that I want a roto app or I want a sous vide, give us the whole view. And I learned after a long time that I used to be feisty, that like, fuck, they're not listening to me, and my bosses, they don't like me, and they're not. It's not that.
Yeah.
They're asking legitimate question. I have got 5 rupees to spend, but you're asking me to spend 10 rupees in which you will make one drink that only makes me 7 rupees. Or should I get 2 more people who will help me on the floor and I will sell 70 rupees worth of drinks? So that is what's going to help me pay rent. It is not meant to curb creativity. Creativity has its own part, but do that dance, earn some money, get a new equipment, make a plan. So you will learn all of that only through experience, right? So spend some time. Don't overspend in setting up when you don't even know what the business is going to be. Now, Soka is successful. I know Spirit Forward is successful. We can invest in something better.
Right.
Now, you've won everyone's trust. So before losing your shit at your superiors who are not understanding you, find out our job is to make them money.
Yes.
Right? That's why they have hired us. They have not hired us. Yes, we are artists and we do all of that, but you have to step out of that. You have to step out. Okay, cool. How do I negotiate? 80% I will do work for them. 20% has to be for me. And as you grow up, that 20% will become 30%. Then suddenly you will come to a point where people will pay for doing 80% of what you want. Right? They will not. Lupa is a great example. I want Lupa to succeed. It's amazing. If you go behind the kitchen, it looks like a chef has got everything that he wants.
Yes.
Right? That's the position I want to be in.
Yeah.
Right? For one time, I want to build a bar. I want to get to that point where I say, okay, mujhe ye chahiye, and I will get that, and we will run a bar. But my return for that has to be that the bar has to be fun. I will never get so into it that consumers are not having fun. So still pay attention on music, this, that, etc. And that's what India needs. We are not so evolved. So you have to make a venue that everyone enjoys. And again, to wrap it all down, definitely aspire to open a bar.
Yes.
Right? That in itself will put so much fire in your belly to make that extra
Probably
$5.
Take one step at a time.
Yeah.
You could ask your owner if I can own a share. And I'll do these things. Yeah. That's also.
No, maybe you give them 18 months.
Yeah.
Right? And they see, okay, he's capable, he's got capability. The next venue that we do, he gets a larger portion. And if you look at all the bars which are making noise in India now, they are all bartender-led bars.
Correct.
Right? Our sidecar is Yangdo Plama.
Yeah, legend.
Right? He's a legend. He understands what the team needs. He understands what the bar needs. His partner Meenakshi was actually a bartender before she went into beverages. Very few people know that, but I used to work with her at Talliho. And I've seen her bartend, and she could out bartend a lot of people I knew then.
Oh, wow.
Right?
I know.
So they come from that, and that's why the bar is successful. Carl will always be an amazing bar owner the moment he decides that he'll do a bar.
Right.
Because he comes, like if he does a bar in Goa with the whole Feni understanding and Goa understanding, all of it fits, and you pay attention, and they know the people. So it's not just open a bar. There's a lot of things that go into it, right? Which if you look at Bombay Canteen, O Pedro, these are hardcore F&B guys who understand the joy of a bar, who end up building it. So we have a lot of chef-led kitchens. That's why they are super famous, right? I mean, think of what's happening with Nar and Max Street, Table, Gresham at Bandra Bond. The reason those places are amazing is the chefs putting attention.
Yes.
It's not about all the other stuff. It's being led from the product point of view. So in bars, it has to be bartenders. So I think more bartenders should build bar in India. And that is what will give us. That's what's happened in Singapore.
Yes.
That's why we like, if you Singapore, there are 30 bars which are all owned, run, or somehow guided by bartenders.
Yes. Even I think it's the same in Thailand as well.
Thailand, yeah.
Ronapon has opened a recent one called
Ronapon, Nick Sanuman, the guys at Tropic City. If you look at Bangkok Social, great hotel bar, Philip Bischoff.
Yes.
Right? Philip Bischoff came to Singapore from Germany, used to run a hotel bar. right, called Amano, where all the events happened. So it just did not fall out of the sky. There was the whole backstory that's there, origin story,
Yes.
as you say in superhumans and superheroes. So they are the ones who end up making up great bars. Like Manhattan was great because of that. There's a guy called Ricky Paiva who was there. Then Philip Bischoff took over. Whatever Proof was doing in Singapore was Michael Callahan. 28 was so they had investors, but it was these bar guys who were leading.
Right.
So for India to get to the next level, you need more bartenders owning bars with support of all of these investors who know how the money flows and how the money works.
Right.
You still need to be, you can't be in the red. You
Correct.
still have to make money, but they are the ones who need to run the bars.
So, Bossman, what keeps you in the industry? What keeps you going?
Very interesting. I think over the last 20, 22 years, there are different things that have kept me happy.
Yes.
At a time, it was about learning cocktails and, being very nerdy about things. Then there was a time it was travel. There was a time that I liked building companies and doing consultation.
Yeah.
I also tried my hand at wedding catering, which was very interesting, but I only survived for about 6 months.
Okay.
And I used to work with Clayton. He's done really, really well. Has a freaking BMW. So yeah, don't knock it. That's a good business. I kick myself for not doing it more. I have founded a lot of stuff. Like wanted to do a rum, so did that with I think with Lovers. I've worked on enough gin companies. Worked on cocktails in a bottle. So I think I've done all of that, but I finally realized what makes me happy. It also keeps me on edge. In the current phase in life, I like building things.
Okay.
I am really enjoying building small little bars and seeing them work. And I got a great opportunity, and a lot of it happened because I was at 28 and I saw how people are very, very hands-on and realized how good things are in India for me. Right? You want to, if you, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example of a guy called Abhishek George who runs Piffy Dapper. Mallu boy went in 2002, opened like with $1,000, opened a bar this big. And now he's worked like with 4 or 5 places. And every time he builds a bar, he does it himself. Because that's the way to do it, right? You're trying to save cost. In India, we have like full contractors coming in and flipping a bar around takes them a month.
Yes.
Right? It does not cost that much, and we have enough manpower that's available. So what I'm enjoying is I have these concepts in my head, the kind of bars that I've seen and I like, and I think they can be built with an Indian context. So I like building those, right?
Okay.
Working on Tejuro was a big part of it, right? Tejuro opened during COVID, peak COVID,
Yes.
but Goa, like Mexico, had not shut down. So it was great to open it, and we were at a position where everyone just poop,
Yes.
came in, right?
I remember that time.
And that joy of all the things, right? Whether it's an award or this, that, I'm an extremely lazy person when I'm home. So I understand the importance of somebody driving 90 minutes to come to us. It did not make sense to me, right? I would not travel 90 minutes to get laid. But somebody was traveling 90 minutes to have the midnight brekkie which Pankaj had made,
Yes.
right? Or they were coming to meet Errol and have a time, or just do picklebacks and party with us. I greatly enjoyed that, right? So then I figured it's more than trying to build a concept bar.
Yes.
I wanted to build rooms. So I always address bars as rooms. Like this is Soka is my room. Spirit Forward is it's my room, and the room needs to provide joy, right? And cocktails are a little part of it. They're a significant part. They are a massive part of what we do, but in the context of consumers and guests and friends, it's 30% of the game.
Right.
Right? It's about how you made them feel. It's about what are the spirits which are there. If I wanted wine, will I get it? Was my beer super cold? This music is damn good, right? It's very vibey. So I want to stick here. Can I tell the guy to play a song for me?
Right.
Right? I really
So basically,
enjoy.
you see a lot of bars opening where you would like to go and drink
Yeah.
as well, and
Exactly, right? They have to be. So it came from a thought process of I have worked enough time trying to impress the industry. I wore my suit, right?
Yeah.
Then waistcoat, then could not fit into a waistcoat, so went into Chinese collar shirts, and now I've gone into. So you're always trying to fit in. Now I want the industry to fit me. So I want more bars
yes.
which cater to what I like. So I'm trying to build those places, right? So I think Spirit Forward was a big part of it, right? Is I want to see the theater of bartenders behind. You have to be up close and you have to be talking to them. And if I want a spirit, they should be able to serve it. In Bangalore, it's very expensive, but how do we figure it out? So I like figuring out that science. Then I love wine. If you guys are going to do research, there are places like Madgaon in Bangkok. Then there is Fools and Wine RVLT. Wine RVLT is a natural wine. So what they are doing is super interesting, right? With what's happening with wine, and you realize that they have normalized wine drinking. It's not about being in a suit all the time. You need to do that for your work, yes.
I remember even Operation Dagger used to make their own wines.
Wines, yeah.
Wine list as well.
And super chilled out, and so, and Luke Vitti is, to me, he's a god of bartending. He's in the top 3-4, very nonchalant how he can make the best pina colada, but he can make the nerdiest scientific drink that's there.
Wow.
Right? So, and there's a guy called Jeffrey Morgenthaler I like a lot.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
He's the guy who figured out aging cocktails in casks. So you can track who he, so it's just that all of it did not come out. So I enjoy all of that. So you want to provide bartenders and bar people that space where they can express themselves, but also consumers can have fun. That's the only way the guys will stay, right? That's why uh, I don't necessarily want to open a dive bar. Right? If I open a dive bar, there's a lot of things I don't need to give my bartenders. And if the bartenders don't get it, they will have fun, but then they will leave. Right? So I want to create a product that they can creatively express themselves, but also they have a lot of fun. But anyways, figuring out wine was really important because I like drinking wine. I'm also coming to an age that I can't constantly do Fernet shots or have anyone will tell you don't have so much sugar anymore. So I like my wines, right? You take a nice glass of wine, it's chill, there's a little bit of story, there are people who know about that stuff. So I've been enjoying it. So I got an opportunity to do WIP with Akhila and the Courtyard crew.
Yes.
Right? But from a bartender's vision.
Okay.
Right? A big part of that was how would bar people look at serving wine? It has to be fast. You don't have time to pull out a drawer and look at, you don't have 10 minutes to tell them terroir and unicorns and rain, which is all good. I think when there are people who talk, I really enjoy it. But in a operational environment, how do we do something else? How do we, so you don't want to go up against the wine guys, but build another place where wines are casual. So we got an opportunity and worked with the guys, and it's about, killing a whole bottle of wine, but also labels. So I want bartenders and our industry guys to understand that there's a lot of thought process that goes in design.
Yes.
Why particular thing is written in what font, what pictures are there, there are stories to be told, and if you assimilate, if you take and get that information, you will automatically get good at your work. Right? You will get good at competitions if you learn from everybody. So I think this place or places like this is the place where you can develop other aspects of your skill levels or of your attribute, right? Yes, I know that you guys can make great drinks, but you should know a little bit of wine as well. Then know a little bit about beer, but also know about kombucha. So I think there's place for everything and learn that. So building that casual style wine bar was very interesting and
Congratulations on that.
it's been a lot of fun, man. Teams solid. Akhila, good job. And also it's good. I think everything that we have done, once people start trusting you, they give you a lot more control. So I feel happy to be in a place in life where I might say the most retarded thing, but the guys will say, okay, if Bose is saying it, do it, right? So I think my joy in life is being there. I also don't want to leave Goa ever.
Okay.
So I'm trying really hard to justify staying back in Goa. Found a location, so we'll hopefully open.
Weather will keep you here.
Yeah, man. It's a romantic weather. It's a weather that you enjoy drinking in.
I know.
It's a weather that you like a good ramen in. I was having a chat with Kavan yesterday about how Bangalore all through the year you can have ramen. So weather is just brilliant. Yeah.
So moving away from cocktails and bars, let's talk about your fascination for hats, caps. When did that happen? And we heard that you have a large collection of caps now, and recently you traded something big, I heard.
Did I?
Yeah.
What did I trade?
A hat with someone?
Who did I trade? I've done quite a few and everyone's big. So
Oh, okay.
no, I grew up in the 90s, man, and
Okay.
that's when Wonder Years came, and I think the most culturally appropriate show I'd seen was Baywatch, and which was a whole vibe in itself. And then you just got introduced to baseball, and you saw all those caps. always had fascination, but while I was growing up, those were not available in India, right? You'll get a cap once in a while, uh, when your uncle was coming back from US, and I still remember the first cap I got. It was the White Sox, so it said SOX, but in central school where I was, everyone used to read it as SEX,
Okay.
and just laugh about it, right? So I had the coolest cap, and I realized I've always liked caps, but you don't get good ones. Then I lost that cap,
Oh.
right? And then when my brother came back, he got me a cap with A on it, which was customized. I go, oh, this is amazing. Did not realize it. I think whatever time went, and this whole merchandise thing was becoming really big, right? Very cool T-shirts, message T-shirts, whatnot, and then I got a cap, and but I had passed that age, so just to be able to wear a cap like this,
Yeah.
which was like very 90s, but I enjoyed it. I like, oh, this is good. And somehow then you saw all of these customizations, and I was talking to this guy called Ricky English, who was a bartender during my time at uh, at, at Monkey 47. He was running a, sorry, Bacardi Monkey 47. He was running a place called Limehouse.
It was a rum bar.
It was a Ramba, yeah. So it was a lot of fun. And during COVID, we were talking about something, I don't know what it was, like, now I'm making caps. So I saw some 28 guys wearing those caps. I was like, this is very cool, can we do it? Then he made that first cap, and I got it. I was like, dude, the quality in this is just amazing, right? And we had gone through a kind of 2 years of bad luck, right? In between trying to start the rum company and running Barback Collective, there are a lot of things which are going on. So all of this kind of coincided, and Ricky was like, I can customize caps. Do you want it? So look, okay, we are just about to open Countertop. I have some money. We have done a project. We made a shit ton of money very quickly. It's like, okay, let's do caps. Let's do 50 caps. I'll figure out how to afford it. Then try to figure out customs and money and all. But then he gave us those teal color cap with a white trucker cap with a countertop in 3D, and I was in love with it. This is brilliant. So, and I gave one to Pankaj and then gave it to another guy. They were like, these caps are brilliant, right? So then I figured it's a very strong marketing tool, right? And I could have made a cap at 800 rupee, and I've had a lot of those caps, but they just don't feel like it. So when you get quality, quality will always be quality, right? It's whether you touch glassware, whether you touch bar counter, whether it's a tea, you will always know, right? I can buy a fake Nike, but a real one is a real one, and you will know it, right? You will friggin know it. So that cap kind of built a lot of joy in me, and people were enjoying it. Dude, caps have to be part of our this thing, and then I just kept on wearing caps, right? There are a lot of different caps, and people were trading caps with me. They are. I don't have the best hair either. I have a lot of hair. I think it's my last stronghold. I keep telling people that if you wear a cap all the time, you'll not bald, which might be true. It's not scientifically proven, but practically so. So yeah, I've always enjoyed caps, and I think it's us now. We like being kids. What we did not give is whether it's Lego, whether it's video games. I love my PlayStation, right? I play the stupidest game on it.
Okay.
Not even really good at it, right? So you enjoy being a kid, and our current world allows for that. So I think caps is very much part of it. Nowadays, if I go to places not wearing a cap, they're like, "Oh, you're not wearing a cap. Are you the same person?" So I think it's become part of identity, and I enjoy it.
Right. So, in terms of cigars, I know that you have a fascination for cigars, and then of course you have Lovers Rum
Yeah.
with you. So, what's the connection between cigar and Lovers Rum, and what's happening with Lovers Rum now?
Oh shit! This is a double-edged sword of a question. So cigars.
Interesting things, or
I think cigars are also fun. Again, it's like the caps, being able to things that we used to sell without understanding.
Yes.
And for us, it was when we were growing up, we always wanted to belong to the upper echelons of society, right?
Correct.
So whether it's drinking a good whiskey, whether it's being able to afford a nice shirt, car, whatever, we always want to arrive, right? I had a chance to work in a lot of hotels, and cigars was a thing, and but that time cigars was people wearing, again, waistcoat, jacket, mustache, friggin' ha 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 kind of kind of thing. But it was very polished as well, right? It was beautiful. And when I used to look at people doing that, my thought was that these guys must have an amazing amount of time in their hand, right? And as F&B guys, you'll understand, we don't have time.
Right.
We eat sitting on a box or on the staircase, or if it's a great starter, you quickly bite and you go. When we go home, we quickly finish lunch and we are ready to go wherever we need to, right? So it is not money that's precious, it's time.
Time. Yes.
And when you have activity like that where it looks like you have all the time in the world and you are having and it's not with an intent of getting high, right? It's not like drugs, or it's not I'm going to go party. It's about sitting down and having a chat,
And
right?
enjoying the taste
Yeah,
of the cigar.
cigar, and you're not inhaling it. Like cigarette also is, there is Hindi में इसको क्या बोलते हैं, तलब. There's a want. Like I need a cigarette. Some people can't take a dump if they have not smoked their morning cigarette.
Yes.
Cigars not like that. So is that joy of time and regaling? But for me, it was like wines again. It seemed like it was an activity which was reserved with people with a lot of money, which is true as well. Like nowadays, a stick is like 800 rupees, 2,000, 3,000
Yes.
rupees a pop, right? So everybody can't do it. I get that. But if I get an opportunity, I take that time to sit down in a busy bar, being able to smoke a cigar and have a Palmetto or a Manhattan or a wine, is it means that, okay, cool, I've done something right, that I'm able to do that. So that's what it represents. And a lot of people do like the cigars, and everyone wants to, they feel it, but maybe they've not been able to word it that way.
Yes.
So I really, and if I'm sitting and smoking a cigar with you, means I really like you.
Right. Okay.
Right? Like that means somebody has time for me. So it is what it represents, and I really enjoy it. And then within cigars, there are so many stories where the leaves are coming from. Of course, Cubans are there. Not a lot of you people will know it, but Rocky Patel, I've had a chance to drink with him, and he's been friends. I was at a common friend's wedding. I just find the guy extremely interesting, right? As a lawyer, his firm represented people like Jay-Z. Why did Guju dude decide to make cigar? I want to know that story. Right? I understand how booze is made.
Yeah.
I understand why somebody's opening a bar. But how did that happen? And then I got the story that was brilliant. Then through him having a conversation and looking at a video, I found out about a guy whose cigar company is called Tatauje, which means tattoos. I like tattoos as well. But there's a guy who mixed those two things, right? So it's about lifestyle and how you mix all of that jam together. And I think everyone needs to find what some people might like cars and cigars as a thing and try to mix that up. Don't mix drinking and driving, not a good idea. Some people, it might be bikes. Bikes and waterfalls. So there are a lot of combinations. I have a lot of those little things. So for me, cigar and drinks are a thing, right? It's great communication and stuff. And any bar that I do, I'll always have an outdoor, and there has to be cigar. PCO had 3 cigar zones.
Correct.
Right? To sit on a Chesterfield on a busy night and smoke a cigar with a guest was, I felt I'd arrived. So it was a lot of fun. And rum is when you ask me why Lovers and why cigar, I like high flavor stuff, right? And rum was something, everything that I have in life is because of Bacardi and a guy called David. David is the guy who took me out, and I went to Mexico and learned a lot more, got in depth into rum, which was beyond a dark rum that comes in a stubby bottle with a lot of caramel, right? Then you found out about rums from Cuba. Then you found out rums from Guatemala, what was happening and how it was across the whole world. So for me, rum was something that again transcended. You could have a Bacardi and Coke in a nightclub, but you can have like that time it was Ron Zacapa, right? That was the first premium rum. But you could sit with somebody in a nice place and have a high-end rum as well. So it covers all those levels, right? So for me, rum had always been fun. I traveled the world because of rum. So, and any presentation you'll ever do, the first 3 pages will always have the mention of how sugarcane Europeans discovered it in India. Naracus, Alexander, so on and so forth, and sugarcane juice. And then I got into it and I found out about Martinique, and then we found out about the plantation guys. Then we found this rum in Thailand called Shalong Bay. So French guys making French style agricole rum. So it was very interesting, man. So you have to somehow figure out, I like rum a lot. I think I'll be able to sell this kind of, it's my kind of spirit. It has that energy, it has that vibe. Latin flavor, everything's there. So I think rum is my go-to, right? And I love rum old fashions, and I love a mojito, I love a daiquiri. So I think rum was becoming my thing, though I could do tequila once in a while. So always wanted to make my own rum. Initially wanted to make a rum from India, but I was based in Singapore that time. And the key issue came up that I don't have money. Second was I don't want to move to India.
Okay.
Right? So we're trying to figure out how do I do it. I was talking to a few people. This is 2014. Right? That time the revolution of gins and has not started as yet. But in my head, 2014, 2015, I'm thinking of banayenge. Then on a drunk conversation, it went to 3 or 4 friends. Right? Then we were doing Tomorrowland, and with another guy called Frank Simmons, we were like, oh, this is a great idea.
Yes.
We should do it. Then from there, it became a little bit more serious. Then we started looking for investors, like what kind of rum, and we had all our experience from Proof and Company and whatever bottles. So we took out 20 rums that we like. So the Plantation Barbados was one of the ones on top, and then all the Jamaican rums which are high funky. Nobody in India knew about it, right? Asia was just learning about it. So like, okay, cool. Now I don't have a grandfather who had a lost recipe that I found in a trunk. And I decided. So we had to do our own marketing. So we're like, okay, cool. As bartenders, we are good at mixing and figuring out flavors. So we're like, okay, we'll do a blend. And it was nothing new. A lot of people had done it. Banks was a famous example. Banks rum that came from the Jimmy and which eventually Bacardi bought. So we're like, okay, cool. Now we have figured that out. So we can do a rum with less money. So then we went on to the whole process, and luckily I was working with people like David. So it was a great idea, and we had our inputs, worked with a nice designer, and then we started discussing tarot cards. And so basically, Lovers Rum was based on tarot cards. It was a number 6 card on the macro arcana, which means balance. So the whole idea was to make a rum that's extremely balanced and easy to drink, very nuanced, rich. You can have it on the rocks. I don't want to say sippable because it's too prostituted a word. But yeah, you should be able to have it and not. It does not need to be spicy or anything. Like a basic nice rum.
I told you that my first experience with Lovers Rum was in Amsterdam.
Oh yeah, at Tales and Spirits. Oh, I love those guys.
I went to the bar and I saw the bottle there. I said, hey, that is Arijit Bose. Because we had seen you talking about it. Just about to come. And then like, this is the only bar in the city where you
they were.
Please.
They were extremely supportive, and Budvi and all the guys are very close. I used to be a barback for their competitions.
Oh, okay.
So that's how the bottle was there, and they were selling it. And Amsterdam was initially where we conceptualized it, right?
Okay.
So our setup was there. So I think it was great, and I got a lot of support from the market and a lot of love. So it was a very, very interesting project. COVID was heavy on us. It's there in India. The Monica guys helped us get us in. It's good. Thailand is doing good enough. So it's one of those things which is there. If everything goes well, it'll do well. But it's been let out. So I always wanted to make a brand of my own. Work with David and the guys, and work with some really cool people, and it's out there. If you want, I'll tell you an interesting story though.
Please.
We launched it in Germany in 2018.
Okay.
Some of the investors, just the last signing happened like a month and a half before, right? So everything was like all over the place. We had to figure out how I would get to Germany. So I ended up on an event. Then I went to Oktoberfest to have beer with a very close buddy of mine. And after Oktoberfest is the Berlin Bar Show. So from there we went to Amsterdam, but we had just got the liquid.
Okay.
And we did not know. We took an Uber. We went to the producers, got it in big jerry cans, right? Of the liquid, because we need to launch 100 bottles. In that effect, doing something massively illegal.
Oh.
Right? So we somehow carried it back. They gave it a like full diluted and stuff. And we sat and bottled about 100 bottles together.
Oh.
But the problem was our labels did not arrive from Russia. They were super fine. Like David's very good at it, right? And he found a supplier with his now wife Polina. Really nice labels, but the labels would only reach us in Berlin.
Oh.
So, and for somehow David thought I have an international license. So the plan was to drive the bottles from Amsterdam to Berlin. Then we realized I have an Indian license, so it does not allow me. And where the driving is opposite and you have to cross the Autobahn, which is like people driving at 200 kilometers an hour, I was like, can't happen. So my Isaac from Bacardi, who is a partner in the company, now makes coffee. So he came down to Amsterdam. So okay, cool, I'll also go to Berlin. Then our flatmate from 10 years back called Tejas, who works in BMW. So like, Tejas, we need help. He's like, okay, cool. So he dropped his wife to Dusseldorf, came to Amsterdam. We went to Tales and Spirits, had only 2 drinks each, because we had to wake up really early the next day. Loaded up unlabeled bottles of Lovers Rum into the back of a black BMW X6, which is brilliant.
Oh, wow.
Like in style.
Yeah.
But it's three Indians who look like we do. Two of them have beard, and there is unmarked bottles behind. And we are driving on the highway. So we did not stop anywhere except at a McDonald's to Makpoo and Makpee. I was like, okay, this is the only stop that we do. Then he drove us all the way to, did not get down to eat food either. Like only one guy went, got food in, we had it in the car. Then Tejas, he's a brilliant guy, he's always there, man. So he drove us all the way to Berlin to the hotel. We unloaded the bottles. He took a train and went back so that he could make it to into Munich and get to office at 9 o'clock. So in the last 11 years, I've never seen him miss office, and he's always on time. Only Indian I know. Right? We are horrible with time. He's like half German. So he dropped us. He left, went to Munich. Then David went out and met his friend who gave him the role of labels. So we got into the I think it was the Ritz, where we had a guest shift as well. So David, me and Isaac wrapped each bottle with the whole Lovers label and then took it to the Berlin bar show and launched it. It was mad. It was, if all goes, it's one of my favorite stories. Like just and Tejas coming in with a BMW X6
I hope he watches this podcast.
was he would have by the third minute he would have gone to sleep. But yeah, it was good fun, man. So Lovers is like I learned a lot. Maybe it's not doing what it's supposed to, but it gave me a lot of credibility in the market,
Right.
which is the other thing you have to know. When you build things and you're able to launch it, people are more willing to listen to you. So more than trying to earn money, try to build credibility in the market, which is what will pay off. So then, because of Lovers, I was able to work with a lot of people and consult on brands and figure it out from a more holistic view.
Right.
I think sales, if you guys as bartenders have a chance, definitely pick up a sales job. My first job as Bacardi was sales. I used to hate that job, but a lot of things I put into practice now, I learned then.
Okay.
Right? But it was, if I wish somebody had told me that you don't have to enjoy this job, but just do it because it's going to improve your life later. So everything is a stepping stone. Enjoy it and know that it might not directly increase your income, but someday it will come in handy. Everything's advantageous. Do everything. So it was good fun. I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
But yeah, and a cigar and a Lovers, it's very, 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 very good as a combination.
Thank you so much.
I have to say, while I respect what you guys are doing a lot, and I mean, people will see this as a podcast, but I've seen what you've built over the last 5-6 years, slowly, steadily, and getting the right guys together. And it's, I think because of you guys, I kind of feel proud that everything that I went through has somehow culminated. So your success makes me happy. I feel part of that.
glad.
So
So
it's
glad.
good. Keep doing it. Keep KK in check. He's a wild man.
He is. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
taking our time.
Cheers.
And look forward to seeing you more in Bangalore. Probably
Done.
we'll do another episode with a few
Done.
interesting topics. Maybe
Hey.
we'll talk about your pastime. What do you
Yeah.
do during pastime? apart from-
When I'm in Bangalore, I go to dosa. There's so many dosa places. One dosa for breakfast every day.